Welcome back everyone to a character I am very excited to preview my Day Zero build of, and that is Mei Hatsume 2. My girl, Mei. I love Mei Hatsume in the anime. I love characters that are just like really passionate about their one thing, and she's just so hyper and so hilarious and very single-minded, and I just absolutely adore her. I was a little upset that she wasn't too good in her first iteration, but they more than made up for her lacking in her Crimson Rampage edition with Girl Power. She is a 6 hand size 28 health character. She has the student character trait, with her symbols being all, evil, and order. As you will see, mostly I went with evil for this Day Zero build, and I'm pretty sure evil is going to be the main symbol you see her on. She has 2 enhances, the first of which is lose 1 health. Increase the rating of the next keyword you play during this attack by 1. So that means your stun, EX, powerful, deflect, breaker, any of these keyword abilities that has a rating, just lose a health, increase the next rating you play by 1. Super good. Super dangerous. This character's gonna hurt people. And then another enhance, reveal a non-foundation card from your hand, so an asset, an action, or an attack, or a character if you're feeling froggy. Your tech or weapon attack gets +2 speed or +2 damage. If it received a damage bonus this way, discard the revealed card and draw 1 card. So good cycle if you have a card you're not wanting to play, or you have a way to get that card back. And you can get 2 speed or 2 damage. And mind you, you only do the discard and draw if you give it damage, so if you just reveal to give it speed, you don't have to discard the card. So move on to our attacks. We have, of course, Patchwork Baby. Her ultra rare. It's a 3 mid 1, which looks awful until you read the card. It's got EX3, Powerful 3, and Stun 2. Or in Mei, it could be EX4, Powerful 4, or Stun 3. Because lose 1 health. It can gain speed equal to the highest keyword rating that you played this turn. So if you gave something else powerful like 6 and used that, this thing could get 6 speed on its own. It doesn't say during this enhance step, during this turn. And then enhance, it gets +1 damage for each different keyword in your card pool. So it gives itself +4 damage. So it's the very minimum a 3 mid for 5. And if you stun 3, it's a 6 mid for 5. If you EX4, it's a 7 mid, 11 mid for 5 on its own. Because you get the speed and the powerful. Or you get the speed and the EX. So yeah, this card alone in her is insane. But let's see what else we've got. We've got Net Gun Surprise. This is a 3 mid 3, it's a stun 2. Also, most of the attacks here have tech, and then the one that doesn't have tech has weapon. That'll be important here in a little bit. But it's a 3 mid 3, it's got stun 2, or in her, stun 3. So yeah, anytime you see one of these keyword abilities, just think that this number is 1 more. So stun 3 in her, it's a 3 mid 3, and as a response in your card pool, you can remove it, and after your rival plays an attack, reduce its speed to 1. So if you block using this nice, I don't know why I just pointed with my hand. If you use this really nice, doing all this backwards, the +2 mid block, you can then remove it to reduce a rival's speed to 1 on the next thing they play, which is really solid defensively, and stun 3 offensively isn't bad at all. We have Electromagnetic Stomp, which in her is a 4 low 4 stun 2. It goes to your momentum face up, and as in your momentum, you can commit a foundation to add it back to your hand. And as an enhance, you can lose 2 health to ready an asset if you have not already. If you have a committed asset, which we are running several assets, and you'll see why we wanted to run this Electromagnetic Stomp aside from stun 2 and +1 low block. We have Wire Arrow. This is a 4 mid 4 with a +1 high block. It says if it deals damage, you can add a tech card from your discard pile to the top of your deck, which is really good because we have several tech attacks. We have a few tech foundations, I believe. And then we have some tech assets that we can guarantee stack some 5s. And then enhance, add 1 asset from either player's stage to their momentum. So it can either give us momentum for a lot of powerful or a lot of EX, or we can get rid of a rival's asset like an Airy or a Twisty Surroundings, or anything Mimic wants to do. We can put it into their momentum and say, you don't get to do that. So really good offensively and defensively. We've got Sword of the Darkness Flame. It's 4 mid 4, and it says enhance, lose a health. It gets +1 damage and stun 1, or in her, stun 2 at the cost of 2 health. And then if you have 10 or less health, you can draw a card and gain 2 health. We're using our health as a resource, so gaining 2 health is really good when we get low, and we get to draw an extra card, making this a 4 mid for 5 stun 2. And again, a really nice +1 low block, and it's got weapon, which we'll see why that comes in handy in a minute. And then we have Deleterious Bomb, or Deleterious Bomb. It's a 4 high 5. As an enhance, you can destroy a foundation to give it +1 speed and stun 1, or stun 2 in Mei. And then in your card pool, you can remove it as a response after your rival destroys a foundation. You get to remove it. So if you have a way to destroy rival foundations, or if your rival is just destroying their own foundations anyway, this can clear itself, which is pretty good. And then, like I said, having a 5 high 5 with stun 2 is a really great opener for the cost of 1 foundation and 1 health. And yeah, it's got ranged. I don't think anything else here has... Oh, well, Wire Arrow has ranged. Oh, and so does Netgun Surprise. But each of these has at least 2 keywords, so Patchwork Baby can try to stack as much damage on itself as possible. And it's just a really fun, kind of toolboxy tech package we've got here. Moving on to assets. There's a lot of them because we want to reveal non-attack cards from our hand. We've got Cute Baby number 202, which has Deflect 3, or in Mei, Deflect 4. And it says response, destroy after a card is played. It gets +1 or -1 to all of its keyword ratings. So while it's in our stage, Patchwork Baby is an EX4, Powerful 4, Stun 3, or Stun 4, or Powerful 5, or EX5. And any breakers we might have down the line can get increased. Also, if our rival's playing, a stun attack, or an EX, or a powerful, we can destroy this to give minus to all of its keywords as well. So, really solid, again, offensively and defensively. There's a lot of pivot here, which is kind of how I like to play. We've got Airy. She's adorable. She makes sure that we live 1 additional attack as long as we spend a momentum and remove her. And she allows us to ready a card at the start of our end phase, so we can keep going into our rival's turn with more ready resources. We've got Twisty Surroundings. This is a Breaker 2, so a Breaker 3 in Mei Hatsume, or 4 if we have a Cute Baby on the field. And it says, so Breaker says after we block with it, our rival's next check gets -X. X equals the Breaker rating. So block with this, our rival's check gets -2. Or with Hatsume, -3, or with Hatsume and Cute Baby, -4. That is basically turn ending. So that's really, really good. We can also spend momentum to change the zone of our rival's attack. They can also change the zone of our attack, but a lot of people forget that's playable by either player. And then we can commit it after our rival makes a check to play an attack. That check gets -2. Failing the check will not end the combat phase, but it's good for using it on your rival's first attack to try to force them to commit more resources early on in a turn. And lastly, we have Box Full of Babies. This was the asset she was built around in Crimson Rampage. It says once per turn, your turn, you can draw a card. Discard 1 card if your character is not Mei Hatsume. So this just says, if we've got 3 Box Full of Babies on the field, we are a 9-hander during our turn. That's really good. And then we can commit it to give our tech or weapon attack +1 speed and +1 damage, which helps us then ready. Is something we can ready with Electromagnetic Stomp. We can ready... I don't know why I would ready Twisty Surroundings. Everything, all of these would be ready on our own anyway, but we want to ready the box full of babies so we can commit for 1 speed, 1 damage, ready it with Electromagnetic Stomp, commit it on our next attack, just to push more speed and damage through. But yeah, just making ourselves a pseudo 7, 8, 9-hander is really, really crazy. And then we have my favorite action package on the evil symbol. We've got Fierce Wings, which lets us pick up any card with 3 or less difficulty from our discard pile as an enhance, which is all of our assets, including our Breaker 2 here, our Deflect 4 here, or even our Barrier Shield or Showdown. Barrier Shield to reduce our rival's speed to 0 and give our next card Breaker 2, or 3, since we're Mei Hatsume. And then Showdown to then commit 2 rival foundations if we block with it, or cancel a rival action. We can commit 2 of our own foundations to cancel a Barrier Shield if we want to, or a Runaway or something like that. So that's always good. I love this 3-action package on the evil symbol, just because we can show a Showdown or a Barrier Shield with Hatsume, discard it, and draw a card, and give our tech or weapon attack plus 2 damage. And then if we discarded a Barrier Shield or a Showdown, we can just pick it up with Fierce Wings. So we didn't really lose much. So really, really cool on that. And onto foundations. We have Pure Dedication. We lose a health as a response. After we reveal a card as a cost, reveal the top card of our deck. So we're basically making sure that we're going to check better or check worse. And if we're going to check worse, maybe we just call that turn quits and build foundations. Or maybe we just push through it and try to see if we can do any better throughout the turn. We have then Fighting for Control, again in the very similar vein of Twisty Surroundings. We flip to give an attack a check to play a non-foundation -2, so that our rival has to expend more resources to keep up their turn. Then we have Immortal Shapeshifter. We can destroy a foundation for +1 damage. And then we can check a 5 as a response. After 1 or more of our foundations is destroyed, we gain a health. And since we're using our health as a resource, this is good to kind of keep that resource replenished while destroying our foundations to give more damage. Or we can give Stun with Frightening Calm, destroy a foundation, this attack gets Stun 1, and then lose a health to give it Stun 2. So basically, destroy a foundation with Frightening Calm, check a 5 with Immortal Shapeshifter, gain the health, lose the health. We basically destroy a foundation to gain Stun 2 on an attack. Really spooky, especially considering you can do that on every one of your attacks, and you can use Mei on every one of your attacks. Next up, we have Unsettling Aura. This is just great speed hate. It's -2 speed, or if we have 6 or fewer foundations, because we're destroying them with Shapeshifter and Frightening Calm, we can give -3 speed instead. And that -3 speed really comes in handy when we have breaker blocks. We have Defending Pageant Queen. We can remove it to reduce an attack speed to 1. Again, if we have breaker blocks, this is amazing, because then we're going to increase our breaker rating and end our rival's turn early. Speaking of ending turns early, we have Convenient Timing, which is kind of like breaker without breaker. You can block with it, spend a momentum. After you block with this card, your rival's checks get -1 for the rest of the turn. So if you're stacking breaker on top of that, like say you've barrier shielded, and then block with Convenient Timing, breaker 3, and then spend a momentum so all checks get -1, that's breaker 4 on the first card, and then -1 to the next check to play every other card after that. And you can flip it to add 1 card from either player's discard pile to the bottom of their deck, if you know your rival's trying to fish through their discard pile for things like Hawk's Feathers, or it was mainly used with against Erase back in My Hero Set 1, but any time your rival's going to be fishing in their discard pile for something, you can flip to add 1 card to the bottom of their deck so that they can't grab that card back. We've got Quick to Act. We are going to be at less than half of our maximum health pretty quickly, so it's just free speed at that point. Bench Press, we lose health to pay costs during our attacks, and each time we lose health, we trigger this and we gain +1 damage. So long as we've lost health this turn, each bench press is going to give each of our attacks +1 damage. And we can flip it to gain 2 health if an attack does damage, which is really good for keeping that health resource up in a pinch. Confident Inventor. Our tech attacks get +1 damage as an enhance. That's great. We can destroy it and remove a foundation, add an asset from our discard pile to our hand. So we can lose 2 foundations to get Twisty Surroundings, or Box Full of Babies, or Cute Baby number 202, or even Airy if we're absolutely desperate to not die. So it's high risk, high reward, but also the free damage on all of our tech attacks is really worth it. And then Successful Sales Pitch. We can response commit it after our tech attack deals damage, reveal the top 4 cards of our deck, add a tech card revealed this way to our hand, discard the remaining cards, so we can stack with Wire Arrow if it deals damage, and then respond with Successful Sales Pitch to then pick up the tech attack or tech card that we just stacked on top of our deck. And that is a bare bones, simple Day Zero build for Mei Hatsume 2. I guarantee you, any set you see with any deck you see with Mei Hatsume 2 is going to run a whole lot more Breaker. She's going to be terrifying on the order symbol with all the stun going around. Evil is going to have a lot more Breaker on it. Yeah, she's going to be nuts. I see her being a very crazy 6-hand size control type character. But she's going to be everywhere. Locals, competitive. You're going to see a lot of Mei Hatsume just because Cute Baby, Barrier Shield, Breaker 4. That's scary. I remember back in the old days with Lord Raptor 2, who could give all of your flash attacks Breaker 2. I had a way to Breaker 7 an opponent using one single block. And that was nuts. So big breakers is scary breakers, so watch out for that. But yeah, let me know if you guys are planning to run Mei Hatsume and what attacks you would run, maybe in an all symbol deck. I'm not sure too much about the all symbol, so if you have some all Mei Hatsume tech, leave it in the comments below. I'd love to see it and take a look, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.